Hello, everybody. So, something amazing happened today. I had the privilege and honor of speaking for a couple of elementary school classrooms for grade sevens and grade eights. Now, what was beautiful was not only the reflections that I seen in the kids' faces and their eyes as I shared some of the messages that I share in a lot of my presentations with people about my lived experiences and where I used to be in life and, mindsets to in order to be able to turn your life around from those experiences. Now, all of that went great, and every single time I get to do what I love to do and speak professionally, speak publicly for people, all ranges of different audiences, from small classrooms all the way to gymnasiums and community whole wide, communities. Every time it's a blessing, every time it's a gift, and I would say every time something magical happens, either at the start of it, in the middle of it, or at the end of it. And today, what I'm going to share with people is something that just pulled on my heartstrings immediately. So, about 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, I opened up my business officially, my storefront in my home city of Prince Albert. And it was the very first day I opened up my business, and it was Black Friday, I think, if I can remember correctly. And it was a beautiful day. I was just excited from the whole get-go leading up to that day because I knew this is my opening day. Well, that day, there was also a Métis inspirational gala where my mother came and brought me my suit that day that was still at her house, because apparently I was up for an award that was supposed to be kept quiet until that evening of that gala. Now, I'll be honest, I kind of heard some little whispers about me maybe being recognized for an award at this event, at this gala. And the reason why I was maybe hearing some rumors is because, well, quite frankly, it was the very first day that I opened up my business, and I was told that I had to close early. And I remember telling the people who were mentioning that I should really come to this gala that I can't. I gotta keep my store open. This is the first day. You don't close early on your first day. I just remember that feeling, being frustrated, saying, "Are you kidding me? I want to stay open all day and night. If there's people coming, I gotta be open." Anyway, short story moving forward. We had the gala. My name was called for being recognized as a young inspirational man for my business that I started doing and overcoming my obstacles in my life. In my acceptance speech, when my name was called, I was very open and transparent, more than I've ever been in my life. I talked about a time in my life where I thought my life was best to not be here anymore because of an accident that I caused that I talked about in earlier videos. And I talked about a moment where in my life that I thought my life wasn't meant to be here anymore. And so I mentioned what I tried and attempted back then and what happened and how I got back up and, I tried to take my life back and put it back together. I had the entire gala give me a round of applause for just being so real and open and raw about my past struggles with addictions and mental health issues. And that was great. It was a beautiful night. But one of the best things the next day was when I read the paper about the event, or it might have been a couple days later. But I read about the event, all the other folks who got awards and everything like that. Some of them got interviewed and some of them said what the event meant to them. Well, I'm not going to say any names out of privacy and out of respect for that family, but there was an officer that was also given an award for his work in the community that night. And one of the things that he said in his interview with the local paper was that he was very proud to receive that recognition, But one of the things that stood out for him the most that night was my acceptance speech about how I was able to turn my life around and overcome those addictions and those battles that I used to battle in my life. And said, if I can remember correctly, that it inspired him. After reading that interview from that officer, that helped play a part in my life to want to continue moving forward in the same direction that I was trying my best to live. Because as a young person like myself who has experimented or messed around with substances, whether it's drugs and alcohol, since I was 11, at that point I was about 24, 25. I can't remember exactly because I'm terrible at exact moments, but from a young person who struggled with substances my whole life, and a person who is, many times in my life struggled with authority, many times has been arrested in his past, many times has been maybe not necessarily the best role model in the community for the way I used to live my life. To have somebody who was in that authority role, an officer, somebody who was well respected in not only my culture of, Métis people and Indigenous people, but also somebody who was respected in the police force world. For somebody who was recognized also that night, to be able to say that, some of my words helped inspire them as well too. It meant so much at that time after reading that article, after seeing that name, stating that the words that I shared that night, when I accepted my award, meant so much to him. Well, today, the couple schools that I spoke to, that a couple schools brought the schools together so that they could have, a few classrooms together and have me come speak to multiple schools. One of the teachers that actually helped to play a big role, of course, in helping organize it, help talking to the administrative folks, and, submitted the grant to help me come and speak for them and have some of my fees covered. Well, that teacher happens to be the wife of that officer. And she told me as I was leaving the school today that officer has nothing but the highest good things to say about you for being able to turn around your life. And it almost started making me tear up because I knew right away of the officer that was her husband, or is the husband. And I told her that story about how much that meant to me at that time, about reading his interview, about saying that I helped inspire some of his evening that night because of me just being transparent and being real of the struggles that I've had to overcome in my life. Now, it meant a great deal. It meant a great deal. I'm just going to shift away a little bit from where my unit heater is so that you can hear me loud and clear. I don't think that officer ever knew how much those words that he said in that interview meant to me. It meant a great deal. And that's kind of the message, the story that I want to share with all of you today. When we say good words and put good energy out into the world about other people, we may never truly know how much that means to that person or those people, but the good energy and the good words that we share about people in this world, they do travel, and they do mean a great deal for a lot of individuals who get to hear those words maybe eventually in their life. Now, for at this time in my life, when I was just trying to put my life and turn it around for the better, brand new first day of my business, accepting an inspirational award at this big gala with nothing but my culture and heritage surrounded, having a round of applause for one of the biggest times in my life that I spoke in front of a public group, of just being real and raw and just telling the truth. One of the things that I always took from that night, one of the things I took the most, was that officer who was in an authority role had such kind words to say about me after me opening up. And I shared with his wife today that I've never forgot that moment. I've never forgot what he said about me. And it's one of the things that helped, to a certain point, keep me going on the same path, because I realized that I was starting to truly, hopefully, make a difference in people's lives at that time. Not only, high schools and elementary schools that I was speaking to at that time, but I was maybe making a difference in other people's eyes as well too. And that's a beautiful thing. So, not to say any names out of privacy thing and respect kind of thing, if you are watching this video, thank you very much, officer, because those kind of words always stuck with me, even 5 years later. Just so you know how much that means to me. And for the schools who brought me in to speak for them today, thank you very much. I hope your youth got a lot out of the messages that I shared today. Now, for those who don't believe kindness and good words, that they don't believe they get shared as much as they should, I promise you, whether or not you believe they do or not, they resonate with people when you speak them out into the world. And this world hears the magic and the power that we have of our voices when we share goodness in the world, even by different actions as well. Those good actions, those good words can be spread, and they can make a difference in people's lives. So why not try and make somebody else's life better by sharing some good energy out in the world? Okay, now that I'm done being teary-eyed, I'm gonna go inside my house and enjoy the rest of my evening with my family. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, maybe comment what it meant to you, whatever you want to do. But I know it plucked on my heartstrings as soon as I got in my car and I was heading home today, because of how full circle all these moments kind of intertwine together. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for listening. And once you believe you have the ability and capacity to do great things in life, that is truly when a life can become limitless. My name's Cody Demery. Thank you very much, everybody.